top. Modest at the top.
Yep, that's right, people. Jeff Hardy debuted in TNA. What did I fucking tell you? You fucking WWE marks. Anyway, that's my little TNA fanboy side coming out. But now I'm going to go back to neutral just to talk to you guys about what happened tonight during the Monday Night War. I watched both of them at the same time. I had TNA Impact on my TV, and I streamed WWE Raw over here, watched them both simultaneously, and I have to say, TNA kicked the WWE's ass. The only time I ever paid attention to Raw was when Bret Hart was on. Most of the time, I had either the volume muted or I had it minimized on my desktop. I was mostly paying attention to Impact. It had so much going on to where to even begin. We had Shawn, X-Pac Waltman, Scott Hall, and Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan, all in the ring at the same time, including Kevin Nash, and we had a nice NWO reunion, which was a great segment. It was good to see all those guys together again. That was the first time all of those guys, including X-Pac and all of those guys that's the first time they've been together since Nitro. So that was pretty special, including to this NWO fame right here. We had a few other surprises. We had Val Venus debut as well. He was in the back with the beautiful people playing strip poker. I thought it was pretty funny. We also had who was that guy? We had Brian Knobs and Sags also come in, you know, the Nasty Boys. It was kind of a given that they were going to be here. Didn't really do much for me. I mean, I liked how they trashed Team 3D's locker room. That's classic Nasty Boys right there, graffitiing the walls and stuff like that. So I expect them to be around next week, probably to feud with Team 3D when they get back from Japan. It could be good if they play it right. The event of the night, I would have to say, was Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles. And the fact how it all came about. That match was set up for Genesis, TNA's pay-per-view, coming up in a few weeks. But Bischoff and Hogan come out with a script to the show and pretty much say, we're not going to go by this anymore starting right now. Eric Bischoff then takes it, rips it in half, and pulls out another script that probably him and Hogan wrote up and said, from now on we're going by this. And the first thing we're going to do is give you AJ Styles and Kurt Angle right now, tonight. And it was good. It was pay-per-view quality, pay-per-view caliber match that they gave us. They went on probably for close to a half hour, pretty close to a half hour, and tore the roof off the place. The crowd was going nuts. Lots of unique chants. We had a "Who Needs Brett" chant during the match. We had a battle of the names, you know, let's go AJ, let's go Angle, stuff like that. We had a lot of "This is awesome" chants, a lot of TNA chants, but one that really stuck out was at the opening of the show, was the big clusterfuck of a match that was the Steel Asylum match. I don't know what they were thinking with this match. I know what they were setting it up for, but I just didn't like what they were doing with it. That match should not have existed. The fact that Homicide gets a disqualification in a cage match, come on, that's ridiculous. And it ends in a no contest. I mean, on an important night like tonight, you can't have bullshit booking like that. That was probably one of Russo's ideas, because I know Hogan and Bischoff wouldn't do that shit. And then Homicide figures that he wants to go and boast and show off to the crowd by scaling the cage and out the little hole at the top to make it look like that he should be the winner and should be the champion, things like that. Had a very hard time getting up that cage. He's probably spent a good 2 minutes trying to get up that cage. It looked horrible. It looked like a botch that he couldn't get up and over. He ended up falling from the cage, so that kind of failed miserably. And this was the opening of the show, so at this point I'm like, oh God, is this a premonition of things to come? Because so far I'm not seeing anything good here. I'm seeing complete bullshit, especially when the crowd's chanting, "This is bullshit." A TNA crowd during the most important show in its history is chanting, "This is bullshit." You don't want that, guys. You don't. But it was saved because they had Jeff Hardy debut. His music blared. People that watched TNA way back in 2004 knew right away who it was just by the first lyric. Everybody knew who it was. I knew who it was. I was jumping up and down and marking out like crazy once I heard that music. He starts coming out of the crowd. You see people not knowing who he is, and he's like walking down, brushing up against people. You can see this one lady, she's like, "Who the fuck is pushing me?" and all this stuff. And then the guy turns around, it's Jeff Hardy, and she goes like completely ape shit, marking out. It was hilarious. He comes out and gets into a brawl with Homicide. Homicide starts pummeling him a little bit, and Jeff Hardy takes him and throws him into the side of the cage. Then takes him to the ramp, the exit ramp, hits him with a very sick chair shot. It was like a side chair shot that no protection at all. That was just a very stiff chair shot. Picks him up and gives him a twist of fate. Music hits again, and that's it. You see Jeff Hardy a few more times in some cut scenes later on during the show. He's there painting a picture for whatever reason. And things like that. Then he leaves with Shannon Moore with contracts in hand and says, I don't know if I'm going to sign it. It's a maybe. So it's not confirmed that he's going to stay in TNA, guys. This could be the only time we're ever going to see him in TNA. He's probably not going to show up again. But like I said, you never know. He could be there next week. He could show up again a month from now. I have no idea. Anyway, the show was good. TNA, hats off to you. Seriously. Hats off. Raw, you did what you always do. And that's not a good thing. They didn't do anything worse. They just do what they normally do. What can you say? The Bret Hart segments were interesting at first, but then after the first hour, I kind of stopped caring. Especially when he hugs Shawn Michaels and forgives him. That's lame and not good TV. I wanted to see him beat the crap out of Shawn Michaels. And then you have at the end where he forgives Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon kicks him in the balls. I can tell you this right now, not one 10-year-old Cena fan gave a shit about Bret Hart tonight. I can tell in the crowd. The crowd wasn't even cheering. The crowd didn't even give a shit. People were sitting down clapping. They weren't even getting up and marking out like they would do if Stone Cold or The Rock showed up. So it was very disappointing Raw. And I can tell you this, I'm not going to be tuning in next Monday. This is the last Raw I'm probably going to watch for a while, probably until whatever, because this was the first Raw I saw in 2 years. I haven't watched WWE since WrestleMania 24. I tuned into this because I just wanted to see what they were going to do up against TNA. And they didn't really try. They didn't even care. They just did what they normally did, and they're going to pay the price for it because TNA pulled out all the stops and gave us a pretty damn good fucking show. That's it, guys. I'm out.